Hey cosplayers, I'm super excited about this video today. And I know you've probably all had this problem. You're trying to sand EVA foam, maybe cleaning up a bevel, trying to sand down something, shape something, and you just can't seem to get the EVA foam to sand smooth. You end up with like rough edges or these little like fuzzy bits and things like that. You just can't get it to go smooth. If you've had this problem, make sure and comment right below, sand. Go right now, comment in the comments the word sand. Alright, I'm super excited to share some tricks with you guys today on sanding foam so that you can actually be able to sand it and get it smooth. Alright, so let's head on over here. While I'm doing that, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification if you haven't already so that you get notified of all of these Cosplay Quick Tip Clips as we come out with them, and that you can make sure that your questions get answered and that you get notified when that comes out. So, to start off with, number one thing that to determine being able to sand it and get it smooth is depending on what type of EVA foam you're using, right? So not all EVA foams are created equal. You have the floor mat foam, which is definitely going to be like the cheapest, inexpensive, find it anywhere kind of thing, but it's a very soft EVA foam, and especially when it comes to sanding, it can be a little bit trickier. I'll show you some tricks, some tips with it. And then you move on to kind of the high density cosplay foams, and those work a lot better. They're going to be smooth on both sides, great for cosplay. And I'll show you kind of how to work with those as well and get those to sand smooth. Similar techniques with those as with this. And then we have our What the Foam, which is kind of more of like a combination between kind of like Warbler and EVA foam. Has a lot more durability to it, density and everything like that, and kind of more of a higher plastic content type of thing to it. And so that's going to be a little bit different to be able to sand as well, and it definitely sands smoother just by default. So let's go ahead and jump in. I'll show you guys kind of what we're talking about. I'm going to put this on as I sand to kind of protect me from the sand dust. Call it the Sand It Bandit. Okay. No? Anybody laughing? Anybody laughing on that? All right.
Courtesy laugh.
So I've got two Dremels here. This one is the Wen rotary tool. I will put the link to this in the description. I've had this thing for 3 or 4 years. It was only $20 on Amazon. Works great, especially for sanding with foam. I wouldn't recommend necessarily using it to do like cutting, grinding metal or anything like that, but on EVA foam, it just keeps going and going, and it was pretty inexpensive. Works great. It's corded, which does have its limitations. I've recently got this, the Milwaukee Cordless sander, and this thing is phenomenal. I love this thing. So I'll put links to both of these in the description. But I'll be using both to show you kind of the different techniques and what type of heads you'll want to use for sanding. So to start off with, let me show you. You would think if you're going to sand foam that you'd use the sanding barrel on a Dremel, right? Let me show you what happens with that.
I can't see him.
So those were these three foams, and then here's What the Foam. And so you can see it takes away a lot, it eats away a lot really quick, and so you have to be really careful. And then also too, it's going to be pretty rough. What you have left. So let me show you on the What the Foam. So now this takes a little bit longer to eat it away. You can press harder and get it to go. But there's a lot, it's not as deep a grooves. It's still a little bit rougher of a sand than like a perfectly smooth sand. But you can definitely see that it's a big improvement compared to some of the softer foams. But not to say that you can't work with these other ones. I'm going to show you how to get those to go smooth. So with these foams, what you want to do is use the sanding barrel to sand deep, get like, kind of your big deep shape, get kind of the basic overall shape going. But if you're wanting to do like a little sand, just kind of barely sand it, or get to the stage where you're going to actually get it a smoother, it's going to be similar to sanding wood or most anything. You're going to kind of go up to a higher grit as you go to smoother and smoother. And so basically then what you're going to do is switch over to a stone bit. If you're wanting to get a nice, really smooth sand on any of these foams, a stone bit is going to be where you're going to be able to get that, right? So if I show you, you've got this rough edge, right, that you have, and you're like, oh man, I need to fix this. Take your stone barrel. I don't know if that's translating on camera, but you can see there's not all those like strafing marks and everything like that. This is going to be a lot smoother surface, and it's going to carry over to the same thing here. I'm going to actually just do it right next to it so you can see the difference. And on these foams, this will actually you can still eat away quite a bit with this. So generally I just keep the stone bit. Okay, so you can see, I don't know if you could hear me while I was saying that, but you can see how you've got these kind of deep grooves there, deep grooves here. These are going to be a lot smoother. And then from there you can kind of come in with a high grit sanding stick. And I got this trick from Evil Ted. Check out his YouTube channel. If you haven't heard of him, type in Evil Ted on YouTube. He's amazing. Has some awesome ideas. He just took sandpaper, got these free paint sticks, and just kind of glues them to it. And you have this little sanding stick. Just go up to a nice high grit 220 or 400, and then from there you can kind of just come in with these and you know, get that, kind of try to sand it down smoother. If you couldn't get it well enough with your stone bit. Usually I find the stone bit to be pretty decent. But you do have this option, especially if you're just trying to get like a, you know, an easier, like just kind of small little sand. You can do the sanding sticks. So let me show you what the stone bit looks like on the What the Foam. So I'll do it right next to this here so you can see the. So it doesn't eat it away near as quickly as on the other one. But you can see just how beautiful smooth that is there, right? So that's some of the basics on sanding. To recap, start off with use the sanding barrel on softer foams minimally, unless you're needing to really just take away a bunch of, eat up a bunch of foam and really sand it down quite a bit. Otherwise, stick with your stone bit, because it's really going to help just kind of keep it that sanding a lot smoother, and it'll still, you know, eat through it at a decent pace. And then if you're working with something like What the Foam, you can get away with the sanding barrel and actually going to get you a pretty smooth surface for the most part. And then once you heat that up with the heat gun, just rub it across the smooth surface, and or like pass a quick like flame across it, and then rub it against a smooth surface, and that'll get you super smooth anyway. But also, too, the stone bit does get you really nice and smooth on it. So those are the basic tips on that. Thank you guys so much. Give us a like if you found it helpful. Dislike if you didn't. Share it with a friend if you know that they could benefit from getting some of these sanding techniques. And let me know in the comments below. Please answer the question, what is your greatest challenge, or your single greatest challenge when it comes to working with EVA foam? All right, so what is your single greatest challenge when it comes to working with EVA foam? And hopefully I can answer your question in an upcoming video. Thank you guys so much. Cosplay on, my friends. Take care.